Good morning. So I'll give a little spiel, but honestly, I think given the size of the audience and given the vibe here, I think we should go into Q&A. I think that's where the more interesting value comes out of. But to create a little framework, I am an immigrant. I was born in Belarus in the former Soviet Union. I came here when I was 3. I lived in Queens in Rego Park for 2 years in a studio apartment with 5, 6, 7, 8 family members. So I can relate to that grind and that hustle. I literally didn't even know my dad for the first 14 years of my life because he would leave before I would wake up and get home after I fell asleep. First as a stock boy in a liquor store making $2 an hour, and then eventually a manager, and then, you know, immigrants, and I'm sure some of you know this, immigrants have really figured out the secret of American business, which is don't spend any money on dumb shit for 10 years. Save it all and then buy something, right? And so that's what my dad did, you know, and he bought a small liquor store in Springfield, New Jersey. I grew up in Edison, New Jersey, you know, lemonade stands, shoveling snow, you know, baseball cards. You know, it's so crazy for me that I get to live through the era where an entrepreneur is cool. You know, like this is like the fact that I take 10 selfies a day blows my fucking mind, you know. The fact that like hip hop artists that I love DM me, you know, like it's just so crazy. And it's happened, right? It's happened for sports. I think a lot of people forget in the 1950s, baseball players and football players had jobs during the summer at like hardware stores, right? Like everything gets its day. And I think there's nothing more Americana than the entrepreneur, than the business person. And so I'm just fortunate, you know, when I was your age, I was a loser by a lot of people's POV because I was a terrible student. And the narrative 25 years ago was that entrepreneurship was not a feasible way out, that the only way out was Yale and Harvard and Cornell. Like school was the only benchmark that created opportunity. And so for me, I'm excited about this entrepreneurial thing, but at the same token, to be very frank, one of the things that I want to try to dissect in our Q&A now is I also think it's gone a little bit too far in the other direction. I think everybody thinks they're going to be a winning entrepreneur. You know, it's funny, everybody says they're an entrepreneur. That's like me saying I'm a basketball player. That's cool. Like, it's fun that I get to run at the YMCA a couple times, but I don't get paid, right? I'm not an NBA all-star. And I think what's happening right now is people are putting the word entrepreneur in their Instagram profile and they think it's a rap, right? Like they think they're gonna make it and this and that, and it's extremely hard. It's extremely lonely. Like it's an incredible, listen, if you want this, you need to understand that there's a lot of stuff that people are not talking about. Nobody in my tech startup world is talking about the suicides that are happening when kids fail. You know, Maple, the food service that was supposed to be so big, folded yesterday. Like this is happening every day, right? And everybody thinks, you know, it's so easy. And the reason they think it's so easy is I grew up when I was your age, like you couldn't roll up on people and say, here's my idea, and they'd give you $1 million on a $4 million valuation, right? Like that was insane. That's not how it was. And I think the other thing that I'm fearful of, especially when I look around the room, there's a couple of us, you know, but for the majority of you, you know, we've had a good economy now for the last 7 or 8 years, right? And for a lot of you, 7 or 8 years ago, you're a real youngster. And so you haven't lived through when the world melts. You know, I lived through the collapse of .com 2000, and then right behind it 9/11, and then 2007 and 8. And I've navigated my businesses through that. That's hard. Everybody's a peacetime general, but who's a wartime general? Everybody's really great when people like, you know, everybody's a hero when you can like print a logo on a t-shirt and say, I've got a fashion brand, right? But what about actually building something sustainable that you can eat on, things of that nature? And so for me, I'm not trying to discourage. I'm just trying to paint a very real picture. This is a long game. Like from 22 to 30, I did nothing. I worked 15 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. You know, it's funny, I was talking at a talk the other day, I was like it was a Friday, I go, tomorrow, more of you are gonna have more Saturdays off in your 20s than I did in my entire 20s, tomorrow. You know, because Saturday's the biggest day of retail, and like that's when we sold the most wine, so I just was there every single Saturday of every 20 to 30 years old, 10 years, every fucking Saturday. And so when people, you know, Everybody, all the cliche shit that we all talk. I'm grinding, I'm hustling, you know, like I'm doing this. I laugh because I look at people's Insta and they're fucking, you know, at Coachella, you know? So I think there's a mix, right? There's a mix because entrepreneurship has also gotten cool. I said something at a talk that really resonates with me, which is like, oh fuck, club promoters have taken over entrepreneurship, right? We're putting it on this pedestal, you know, and now with the way that Instagram dominates our world, right? And the visuals of watches and private jets and girls and guys and boats and champagne, I'm just like, fuck, 99% of people are gonna lose. And what I'm scared of is if people actually knew what to do, which is eat shit, like work real hard, be real patient. You know what I would wish on you more than anything? More than anything, and I'm looking around the room, our wonderful cops back there, a couple of people here, like there's 7 or 8 of us that know this, the rest of you don't, which is if you knew that at 40, you felt the same way inside as you do as 20, it would fuck with your head. If you actually knew how on fire, like I think we're friends. Like I think we're the same age. It's crazy. When I was 22, my cousin was in the business. He was 30, right? He was 8 years older than me. I thought he was old as fuck. Like I remember, like that's not super long ago. I was 22, he was 30, he was old as shit. So when I sit here and I'm 41, I'm like, fuck, these kids think I'm real fucking old. And I feel fucking as young as you, right? Like, and if you knew that, you would get way more patient. If you knew that, you would get way more patient. I promise you, the number one thing that I'm trying to leave here with is to get a couple of you to get real fucking patient. Because that is the singular advantage. If you actually don't give a fuck, the way I didn't, of what people think about you all through your 20s, like you just don't care. Like you literally don't. And you just build something for yourself, you have a much better chance. So many people here will fail in their entrepreneurial, you know, journeys because they're worried about what people think. That's just what it is, my man. That's just what it is. People are worried about what other people think, how many followers they have, how good the business is doing, what they're doing, where they're going, what they're wearing. It doesn't fucking matter. And especially doesn't matter if you pour all that energy into building something and then at 33, you're winning and they're resetting. And if you really knew how young you would be at 33, it would really change everything. Like that's the thing, I'm trying to really put the words together because I'm going back to that time. It's just hard, right? Like it's hard when you're that young. It's hard to realize you'll feel that young. I just don't know how to say it. I really don't know how to say it. And I don't, but I want to say it with conviction so that a couple of you believe me. But you have to build an actual business that makes money. Like if you're going into the tech business, if you want to build an app, it's hard. Like for every single Snapchat and Instagram, there's 8 million Insta shits, you know? Like everybody fails and we get seduced by the 2 or 3 people that don't, right? And it's really funny. I went to Mount Ida College, right? It was 94% African American Latino, real minority college, and every single person wanted to be a rapper. Right? It was 1994. Everybody was gonna, and I remember thinking like, wow, this is some delusional shit, right? Like, how are you gonna be a rapper if you're not writing? How are you gonna be a rapper if you're not in the studio? How are you gonna be a rapper if you're not like hustling? And it's funny, like the white boy version of that now is tech. Like everybody thinks they're gonna build Snapchat and Instagram. And I'm like, how are you gonna do that when you're at Coachella? How are you gonna do that if you're out every night? How are you gonna do that when you're raising money and you're, you know, it's funny, raising money has been so detrimental to the startup community. Like it doesn't take a hero to lose $30,000 a month. Everybody in here can do that. You know, and so a couple things I want to get across and I want to really go into Q&A, like get real like detailed because I'm here. I'm not coming back. So, so let's take advantage of it. You know what I mean? You know, so the couple things that I think you need to really wrap your head around is it's for life. 99% of the kids that walk into my office or I come across, they're trying to flip their shit, which means they're doing it for the money. And when you're doing it just for the money, you've got way less chance to actually make the money. So if you build a business, if you're in the mentality, if you're in the mindset of building it for life, you get slower. You get more true. You build much better foundation. Basically, like if you're thinking about like building a house, everybody's worried about like decorating the fucking room and like what lighting are you gonna have or what color's your wallpaper. And meanwhile, the cement you built the house on is shit and it's not gonna matter because the first time it's gonna rain, your shit's gonna fall, right? And so everybody's just jumping. Everybody's so impatient. You want to, and listen, I get it. I look around this room and I associate. You know, I don't look exactly like everybody, but I can't come from that same kind of place with a lot of people, right? When you have that chip on your shoulder, the hardest thing to do is patience, right? And there's so many narratives, whether you came from nothing, whether your parents, you know, whether your sibling is going to Yale, like there's a million different chips and we've all got them. And the hardest thing to do when you've got a chip on your shoulder is to wait. Because you can't wait to be like, fucking told you, right? Like everybody's living for that. Like I love that. I live for that. But the best way to do that is to actually pull it off. And the best way to pull it off is to put it into a 10-year window, a 20-year window, and everybody's in a 10-month window. You know, everybody rolls up to me and is like, I'm gonna be a millionaire by 27. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, cool. Mazel tov. You know, you know, like it's the wrong mentality. And the youth right now, because of the pedestal of entrepreneurship and the PR nature, you guys know this, your fucking Instagram and Snapchat is basically you PRing yourself to the world. Like you're getting that perfect lighting, you're waiting for that perfect, you guys are even doing shit just for the fucking selfie. You're like, I really don't want to go out, but fuck it, I'll go there and get the, you know, like, people are actually doing stuff now just for the selfie itself. So like we're painting this image and underneath in the reality, everybody's gonna lose. Everybody's gonna lose. And so like how do you build your brand? How do you build your app? That takes a lot of work. Like you've gotta love the work. The thing that really I got lucky with, and that's DNA, right? Like when I was 4, like I didn't read a business book or go to a Garyvee talk to get motivated at 6 years old to think it was fun instead of playing to stand behind a table and sell lemonade every single fucking day. You know, that's just DNA. And so I don't sit here easily and be like, do this, because it's not easy. Like you got your DNA, you got the things that come natural to you. But I will tell you why I'm successful, because I like the grind, because I feed off the journey, because I love the process, because I like the pain. I like the phone call that I had to have this morning about a tough situation. Shit's pressure. You know, you build a business, you're just managing people. It's a lot of stress, you know, and so, but I love that. And you gotta decide if you love that. Like if you're the person in your family that loves to have everybody's fucking problems on you and you try to navigate it, now I'm hearing something that makes me think, okay, you might be able to build a business. But if you're not, like then you may really wanna be the number 3 or the number 6. You may wanna catch that tiger by the tail of somebody that you see can eat shit 24/7, 365, and what you're good at is you're really fucking organized, you're really fucking creative, you're a really great salesperson. A lot of people getting confused with being a good salesman and woman with being a good entrepreneur. They're very different things. You've got to figure yourself out. The key is self-awareness, right? The key is self-awareness. I suck at most things. Really, I just suck shit at most things. But I know what I'm good at and I go all in. And all the people we admire, that's what they do too. They're not good at everything. They're good at something and then they just go deep, right? And so I would highly recommend the other thing that I'd love for you to leave here with, besides patience, is start being honest with yourself. I know what you want to be. I want to be 6'5", the quarterback of the Jets, bang supermodels, and have $1 trillion. I get it. I understand people want to do things. I get it. I understand you want an island and $1 trillion, or raise a family, or start a cooking. I understand what you want, but it's much better to understand what you are and build around that and triple down on those skills. Like for example, for me, I really like people. And so I'm a very HR-driven CEO. You emailed and said, hey, I'm super pumped. You're gonna be speaking at my school. I'm like, come with me. Yep. You know, like that's good. That's gonna build our relationship. How long have you been at Vayner?
Well, I was an intern.
I know that.
I got hired in January.
Right, so like we're now 5-6 months in. We could go 2 years without interacting if the serendipity, if she doesn't take me up on my open door policy. But when she emails, she's like, that's really cool that you're gonna be there. I'm like, come with me. not because of anything else, but I want to build a relationship with my employees. So I know that I'm good at that. So that's why we're HR driven. That's why the chief heart officer is the most important person, not the CFO, not the CO, her and me. And so that's just, that's not what a lot of people think on the outside, especially if they watch my videos or when I'm competitive or when I'm on stage like this, when I'm most crass and aggressive. But that is who I am, and that's what I tripled down on, right? And so you need to figure that out about yourself. One thing, I'll leave with this, and I really, really want to do Q&A. Number 18 at Instagram made a lot more money than number 1 of a billion different companies. Number 6 at Google, number 42 at Facebook, number 113 at Bain and McKinsey. They made a lot more money than number 1 of a billion other things. So please make sure, and I know the entrepreneurial club's here, and I'm not trying to suppress it. I'm trying to get people to get self-aware because that's where all the upside is. And you could be a co-founder or a number 3 and really, really win. You gotta put yourself in that lane. So those are some shits on my mind. Thanks for having me.
So,
what's your name?
Abraham.
Abraham.
Thanks for coming. But there's a big problem with entrepreneurs. Oh, what's the mic?
Your voice is amazing.
I'm okay, you get the next person. So what's going on is that's great, but a lot of entrepreneurs, sometimes they fall into a trap that they throw money down a well until they build themselves into a hole that they can't dig themselves out of.
And you're talking about debt? I'm asking. Credit card debt?
Everything, because what happens is, like you said, these guys can lose $30,000 a day. And
that's different though. When you're lucky enough to be able to raise capital, that's lower risk losing money, right? To me, you may lose your reputation, which is the worst. You may lose, an opportunity, which is terrible, but it's much more fun to lose $30,000 a month of somebody else's money than take $58,000 in credit card debt because you got a dream and then it's compounding interest at 18%, you're fucked forever. So I'm just trying to get clarity.
No, I understand. But generally, when do you tell that young entrepreneur that keeps trying to chase that Instagram dream when they should
Stop?
Stop, because if they're chasing after the wrong dream and they're in it for 10 years, all they've done is dug themselves in like this crazy hole.
So 2 things. Again, and this is why I'm trying to get clarity. If somebody's taking on personal debt and they've been adding, and first of all, they won't be able to get away with 10 years of that, but to me, I'm always very fearful of somebody taking out credit card loans to start their business. It scares the shit out of me because it ends up bad almost all the time. If it's somebody who's good enough at raising capital forever and losing other people's money and reputation hasn't caught up with them, that's a little less scary, but it also seems like a waste of time. If you're good enough to raise capital for a decade and keep losing people's money, you're probably good at some shit. And instead of keep doing that, why don't you go become a professional money raiser and take a commission on what you raised for other people? It just seems like you'd be smarter about that skill. Listen, I hate telling people to stop because you just never know. The only time I ever tell people to stop, I'll never say it here. I'll give you guys what I just gave you. I'll only tell people to stop when I know them. If we were homies, like, yo, bro, Abe, I love you, but come work with me, man. This is not happening. I think it's a very difficult conversation. I also think the market will tell them. So what I think again, and I brought it up earlier, is that it's been good for the last 8 years, right? You're an Instagram influencer. When things are good, detox teas are paying you $3,000 to take a photo. When things are bad, nothing's there. And you go from being an influencer to working at Chase Bank.
Thank you.
You got it. My man.
My name is Ian.
Ian.
I have a quick question about
Sure,
just passion. I read
Sure.
your book, Crush It, and
Thank
I read what you said about patience really has resonated with me because I think it's so true.
Yep.
But a lot of us are in the midst, I can't speak for everyone.
Sure.
Me and
Yes.
people that I roll with,
Yes.
my friends. We're in the midst of finding our passions.
Yes.
And the process of finding that can be a very
Daunting.
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you suggest one does I know keeping an open mind and.
I got one. I got an answer for you.
Okay.
Because this has been asked for me for the last 10 years since Crush It came out.
You should have
But
your
it's,
hustle.
I don't have like the right answer, but I have one answer that has resonated the most, which is, I think a lot of people are trying to find their passion and they're like, okay, cool, if I love it, then that gives me a better chance to build a business. I would say the one thing is I would take a step back and reframe it. Instead of looking for it, let it come to you is how I think about it. So what I would do is, when you're not looking for your passion and you and your crew are like talking about what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it, what do you do? Right? Like, to me, it's like, what are you doing when you're not trying to build a business? Whether that's music or sports or shopping or fishing or coding, like, what are you doing when you could be doing anything? And like, that's why esports fucks with me. Cause I'm 41, right? Which means I grew up with all the kids that were like we were the early video game crew. Like, Nintendo fucked with our heads, you know? We're like, oh my God, you know, and we were playing. And everybody was told not to play, right? And I think about all those kids that were like the best Madden players in the first year or two, or the best players at, you know, Doom and all that shit. And like, they were talked into being lawyers, yet they could be making $4 million a year now as esports stars. And if they would have just followed their passion, which is, 15 years ago, if you're like video games, everybody would have laughed you out of this room. Like, what are you doing video games for? Like, that's a waste of time, right? Right? That's a waste of time. And now you've got people making 5, 10, 15, $100 million a year being video game players. So I would ask, first of all, you got a lot of time. Back to patience, I'm glad you brought that up. And 2, just audit what you're doing when you're not thinking about business. Like, and those are always the hard businesses, the sports business, the music business, the fashion business, those are hard. Everybody likes them, that's why they're big businesses, but you should at least start there. You're better off failing in that and then resetting as, now you're 27, you went for it in sports, you picked up other passions along the way. You're like, oh, I found out about food, or I like jazz now, or, it's fucking crazy how long life is, my man. Yep, you got it.
Hey Gary.
Hey man.
My name is Bled. So I just had a question on cause you always, you're always talking about owning the Jets one day,
yes.
Stuff like that. How often do you sit down and really focus on a bigger, like, just expanding, just your vision? Like, what is your process for really sitting down and really getting to think bigger and push yourself to the limit and be so, the dream so.
How do I manifest?
Big and scary,
Yeah.
how,
What's the mindset?
Yeah, what's your mindset behind that?
And how do I process?
Yeah, why do you do that? Why do you dream big? Why? What's the purpose of it? Because some people dream big, but
Yeah, it's a good
don't
question.
really want to achieve it. What's the?
So let him hold on to the mic for a second, just in case. So first of all, I hate that my dream is to buy the New York Jets. I'll tell you why. Because, for a lot of reasons, they're fucking pissing me off. But, because it's a vain one, right? It's not super noble. It's not like the kind of thing that I can it's not like I want to when I work on Pencils of Promise, or I'm going to Ghana in a couple weeks, those are the things I feel proud of. When I'm at Charity Water and we're trying to literally cure clean water around the world, that's where you can feel like a good man. You're buying the Jets seems fucking one worse version of the fucking shit that's going on Instagram, but it's my truth. What people don't know, because they shouldn't spend this much time knowing my shit, is I learned how to speak English by watching the Jets. I used to get made fun of and picked on because I couldn't speak English, but the first time I went outside and kids were throwing a Jets football around, they made me feel welcomed, and it's the first time I felt like an American kid, and it's it got deep in me. It's my truth. And somewhere around 4th grade, as I started playing, I'll never forget it, Wakeel Shaw ran me over like a truck, and that's when I was like, yeah, I'm more likely to own the Jets than play for them. And so somewhere around 4th grade, I was like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. And then I never let go of it. And then, to be very honest with you, I don't think about a lot of things other than the process. Everybody's always making these manifesto boards and fucking writing down what they're gonna do. I'm just I've got that one thing, I'm gonna buy the Jets, cool. What's really great about shooting big is if you fall short, it's still big. And And so that's why I get pissed when somebody rolls in, it's like, when I'm 32, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm like, cool. Like, go bigger. If you're 22, you got time to go bigger. You can settle on that. And if you're doing that, then you become short term. Then you're about the money. When you wanna buy something for $4 billion, you can't even worry about the money in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, right? Because it's so big. Like, that money's bad, actually, because if you get the money and spend it on dumb shit, you're not getting there. So I'm punting. My lifestyle is pretty humble in the scheme of things because I don't want to waste the money on private jets. I need it for the New York Jets, you know, so my process is to not think about it. You know, I've said it, it's been there forever, and then I just make it about the work.
So you say one time, you just keep on, it's just in the back of your mind, you're not
I do make decisions based on it, right? I sold 30% of VaynerMedia to Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, because he specifically was an NFL owner. There's only 32 of them. I wanted to get on the inside. You know, I go to the Super Bowl, I hang out with the other owners. Even if I make the money, those fuckers have to vote me in. Like, you know, that's an inside club, you know, so you got, you know, so I'm chipping away at that. I do make some decisions on that, lots of decisions on that. But to be very honest with you, and it's a good time to say it, I don't really want to buy the Jets. I just want to try to buy the Jets.
Thanks for being here.
Sure.
I'm the Vindra. So I work with my buddy Olio, and we make lights for skateboards for nighttime safety. And,
Awesome.
Part of what we did with marketing was collaborating with like brand ambassadors and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I noticed that it really didn't really focus on getting us a purchase from people. It really just focused on getting their followers onto our kind of platform.
Yep.
But I wondered, how long do you think typically decision making it does for like buying something?
Listen, if you're able to siphon fans from other people with those endorsement deals and get them onto your platform, that's a win. It's up to you now to actually get them to actually buy. Getting people to the place is super important. Closing's a whole different skill. So now is your product good enough? Like, listen, I'm a big time marketer, but I always tell people, I'm like, if your product is shit, there's nothing I can do, right? I can just let a lot more people know your product is shit, you know? So first of all, you gotta make sure the product's right. B, have you asked? So like the question is, if I went to your Instagram right now, have you also just put out, you know, fly pictures and cool shit? Or have you actually said, you know, link in our profile, buy our shit? Like, have you thrown that right hook?
Yes, yeah.
And so
link to
right.
the website, everything.
Right, and so if you're not converting, the next thing I would do is I would literally DM every single person that follows you and ask them why not. Ask them like, hey, we've done some stuff, we're just, you know, like, you don't want to say, hey, we're doing a survey, because I'm like, fuck you, but like, hey, you know, like, quick question, like, you know, obviously you gotta be smart, you gotta be one-on-one, you gotta be like, hey, Karen, you know, thanks for following us, quick question, right? And then you gotta remember how Instagram works in the DM, it only shows the first couple words, so you gotta test different words that get more people out, like, you gotta be smart, because if it's like, hey, Karen, then she might be out, but if it's like, quick question, she might look, or like, got something for you, she'll definitely look. Like, you've gotta be smart, like, what people don't understand is there's the clouds and the dirt, right? And when you watch me and DailyVee, I'm giving you the clouds, right? Because I can't give you the dirt, because it's usually dirt for my clients and I can't share it. But what I just did for you, that's the dirt. Understanding how everything works, you have to be a practitioner. I gotta be a plumber, not just an architect. And that's why I'm different than most people that look like me. I'm in it. I'm doing the work. I understand how this shit works. I understand how to get people to swipe up in an Instagram ad and watch a 4-minute video on a Snapchat ad and get to watch a 4-minute video. Most people haven't even run a Snapchat ad yet. I understand why it's smart to buy filters around 20,000. Like, you should be buying filters around skate parks, and you know, like, if you're doing that, that's awesome, makes me happy. Like, and you should be smart though. You should buy it from 4 p.m. on, so you catch both waves of after school, not just at 9 where you catch one. Like, this is detail shit.
Perfect, thanks.
Hi, I'm Ishmael. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for the Entrepreneurial Club. So,
Awesome.
yeah. I'm a native. I I've seen the struggle firsthand. I've seen
Sure.
my mom struggle.
Sure.
Not really my dad, because he wasn't really there for me. But
Understood.
I've seen struggle in the face. How do you soften the blow?
How does one soften the blow of what they see?
Of like struggling, because it's like I'm a student, I struggle here, I struggle there. So how do I soften that blow?
By realizing you have no fucking choice. Like, like that's the not fun answer, right? Like, I wish I could come with a little bit more honey for you, but the reality is, like, I think it's better to go the other way, right? Like, I think it's like, it is what it is. Like, you could dwell on that struggle, which is very real, or you could change your perspective and be like, okay, the odds of becoming a human being are 400 trillion to 1. You are more likely to win the mega millions in your life 9 times than to actually have a life. So you could say, fuck it, like, I got this life, it's not as good as rich white kid that got a $400 trillion trust fund, but at the same token, and let me tell you this, I look at that face and I'm like, do you know how sad I am for my kids? I'm being dead serious. You may think it's funny. I don't want that life. I love this narrative. I like the admiration. When you get trust fund babied, you get disrespected. I look at you with way more respect than my homies that have everything handed to them, because I'm like, you had it handed. Like, that's not fun either. I've spent time with, I used to think that was fun. I've spent time with them. They're real fucked up. Like, I'm serious. Like, it's, everybody's grass is greener on the other side. I get it. And like, I don't want to be like, hey, it really sucks to be a trillionaire kid. It doesn't. But there's plenty of suicide and fucked up depression and all that. I think the right answer, man, is like to realize you got what you got. And it's like poker, right? You might have not gotten the best hand in your perspective, but you still have a shot. Like, my favorite story of my life is playing checkers with the founder of Uber, Travis. We're at this fancy fucking conference in Hawaii, and we're playing checkers, right? Because like 2 in the morning, it's like, no, we're just playing fucking checkers, right? And I'm in deep shit. Like, it's over. Like, he's got me. Like, it's like, if you've ever played checkers, I'm finished. And so I'm like, fuck, man, I really don't want to lose this match. And so I decide I think about it for a little bit and like over a couple moves, and I decide to make pretend that I made a move that I'm upset about, hoping that he reacts to it quickly. So I make this move and I go, fuck, and like try to make pretend that I need to go back, but like my hand was up already. So he jumps me, which set up a triple jump for me, and I won. That's how I think about your life. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Listen, the other thing is perspective. I've been to Harlem plenty, not as much as you obviously, but when you go to Ghana, when you go to other places, like, there's a lot of people out there, man. Like, the trip that I sent a lot of my friends to that come from inner city coasts is Mississippi. Like perspective is a funny thing. Like, I just think there's only one person on earth that's allowed to complain. Like, there's, the 7+ billion of us, and there's literally somebody who's in last place, like on the rank, right? They're in a cave right now as a human slave or something. This is weird, but this is true. There's somebody who's in last place. And unless you're that person, you can't complain. And I think if you take that mindset, it gets real good. And that doesn't take out of the equation being a minority, being a female, being poor, being born to really difficult parent situation. Like, that doesn't eliminate it. I'm just trying to figure out what the mindset is to get out of it. Because if you're on the defense, you're on the defense. Because I see the same thing happen with the kid who sits and complains. A friend of mine who literally has $20 million in the bank as a trust fund kid, he's losing. Everything out of his mouth is defense. Like, and it sounds ridiculous, but you sit there and it's another human being, and that's their problem, right? Nobody thinks, everybody disrespects me, I'm a loser, this and that. Like, that's life. You got it.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
This is Kayla.
How are you?
This is very surreal for me, Sakara. I actually grew up in Edison. Right
No way.
JP. Yeah.
I love it. Did you go to John Adams Middle School?
No, I actually went to Rutgers Prep, so I moved to Franklin. But yeah, my brother went there. So very surreal because I went watching Wine Library back in 07.
I love it. You're OG.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of on this quest to learn from the best people. Kind of consider myself a student of life and a student of people, not of any institution. Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
You know that nobody else gets anything remotely close to that now, right? That's how it starts. That's it. It's over. She was smart. She won. Let's move on. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess I can't ask you to shadow me.
Definitely not.
So me and my friend are just starting up a business, and we want to expand a lot during the summer.
What kind of business is it?
We're doing like an ag tech startup.
Yep.
And so we're trying to like bring on more people, and we're just wondering like how much time should we spend on like getting good people versus trying to bring people on quickly, and also to have them like share within the vision of the company.
Is the company in a place where you're getting a lot of deal flow and clients?
No, not really.
So are you trying to bring on engineers to build it out?
Yeah, engineers and stuff like
Then I would go with good. I'd be a little bit more The only time I think you should overexpand and be just hiring C's and D's and just hoping that some are good is when the business pressure of like people want to give you money and you're because of lack of people you're saying no. But when you're actually building the product, you know, a bad engineer could really set you back, right? And so are both of you engineers or one of you?
Yeah, we're both engineers.
So that's great. That you got like entrepreneurship has created some funny ass shit, including 2 non-technical co-founders building technical products and outsourcing and getting fucked. So that you guys are in a good spot. What I would do, to be frank, you're young, right? Like, I think you should be spending every minute on it. Like, I think you should be interviewing people at 10 p.m., at 11 p.m., at 6 a.m. Like, I would try to get 20, 15, 10 interviews into a day instead of 3, 4, 5. That's how I would probably attack it because you're gonna need to win on quality. Are you guys having a problem with deal flow of getting good talent?
I think we just need to talk to more people. I'm trying to like reach out to people, but I'm still trying to like get more people to interview with us.
Are you guys spending any time in communities like Meetup or Reddit or other places where there's just scale of people talking?
No, but I think we need to start doing that more. We
Yeah.
just got into the interviewing process.
Awesome. The good thing is you're teched out, right? So like you know what's so crazy, and I think you guys, some of you know this, it's crazy that bulletin boards are still around and like kind of real, right? Like, so I know when a lot of my engineering talent is looking for talent, it's stunning to me that they go into some of these Ruby or Python bulletin boards even, you know, Slack channels, I think is a place where you can siphon some public Slack channels is a place where I think you could find some engineers. So those are some details I think you can use.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Gary. My name is Jared. I've
Jared.
watched your content for a while, so there's
Thank
a lot
you.
of things that I think is like really awesome. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I actually am just starting a business now myself.
Good.
With a few friends. We're
Awesome.
in the design phase, and I wanted to know when it comes to, of course, designing and then marketing and building a website. There's only 3 of us. Do you think it's smarter to focus on one thing at a time? Do you think it's smarter
What's the business?
It's for skateboarding to protect
Okay.
your shoes from like any damage that can happen to it while you're like stopping.
So have you designed the product yet?
It's basically finished. We just have to manufacture.
And so is there anything stopping you? Is it money? Is it the right partner? Is there anything stopping you from manufacturing it?
Well, not right now. Money is definitely an issue, but we're working towards that right now.
Okay. And so you're gonna clearly sell this on Shopify, right?
I've never heard of Shopify.
So you should definitely build it on Shopify because that means you won't have to really build the site. So you'll be set there. So that's good.
Okay.
I'm glad you came to this talk and heard about Shopify. Yeah, so I mean, I think you're in motion, right? If you get the product, the site's gonna be, once you Google out Shopify and learn how to do it, that's a really low cost way to be into retail, so that's huge. And then on the marketing front, I think it's hardcore influencer marketing. Obviously, you've got to, back to your thing, you might have gotten the wrong influencers, right? Like maybe they gave you.
Yeah, like I realized that getting the top tier guys doesn't really do anything. You gotta get the B-level guys.
Yeah.
Because they're the up and coming.
The long tail is always more interesting because a lot of people really pay, like if somebody has 18,000 followers, a lot of times those 18,000 are really watching and following. You start getting to that high level, it just becomes passive in one's feed. So you gotta find the right influencers and you just gotta scrap, right? You just gotta get awareness, you know, but shoot for the moon. Like you should hit up and you should slide into the DM of like every single major skateboarder in the world and ask them to put you on, and 99.999% of them will say no, but if one says yes, everything changes. It's just grind. It's a game of numbers. Like, do you have the perseverance? Like, do you love no the way I love no? I love no. You know, because no gets followed up by I fucking told you. You're welcome.
Hey, Gary. My name's Kenny, nice to meet you.
I hear it.
My question isn't necessarily entrepreneurship
Sure,
related,
no
it's
worries.
more personal branding
Let's do it.
related. How can college seniors and recent grads start building a personal brand to potentially build a business or to get hired at a company they want to get hired at?
Talk about shit you know, Kenny.
That's it.
Yep. You know, everybody's trying to build a personal brand. It became this thing. It's crazy. You're holding Crush It. Like when I wrote that, people didn't even know what the word meant, right? Like people laughed at the book you're holding. Like, cause you have to stand, it's 10 years ago. Like the thought of like, go on YouTube. People didn't even know what YouTube was. And Twitter was. Like I was like, go on YouTube. I went on CNN, all these places. Literally, these are the interviews. You can find them on Google, like or on YouTube. Like, I'm like, go on YouTube and Twitter and the host, this is like CNN and the hosts are like, what's YouTube? Like it seems crazy now, but everybody wants to do that. Like the way you build a personal brand is people want to follow you, right? So why would people want to follow you? You're pretty, you're funny, you're smart, you're motivating. Like you gotta have something, but the thing to do is not the front. Everybody's playing an act, which is a house of cards. You need to speak your truth. The reason
Document, don't create, basically.
Document, don't create. Like all those people just gave you daps because you're clearly a likable dude. Like that's gonna play out. That's a winning formula. That's the shit I had too, right? I just also, first of all, and this is something you gotta think about, I also just decided to put my head down for 12 years before building a personal brand because it was a lot more fun to build a personal brand around building an actual business. You know, the reason I came up with Document, Don't Create was it gives a kid like you a shot. So you could either put your head down for 15 years, pop out and then start building, or right now you could just be like, I'm Kenny, like this is what I got going on, right? Like not much yet. Like I'm not gonna give you business advice when I haven't built a fucking business, but I could surely tell you what fucking kids fuck with right now. Like, you know, like you could talk about your life, culture, like everybody wants to, like listen, if you, like I knew, this gets a little bit into younger than this demo, but you might have some younger nieces, nephew, kids. I knew slime and spinners were coming. Cause I watch 8-year-olds. So like, you know how much money I could have made by buying fucking a bunch of spinners in China and selling them on Amazon? There's people making 100,000 racks, like fucking real money. Like real money. Like every week on Amazon, because 9 months ago they saw kids gonna fuck with spinners and they started buying a shitload of them in China and they ranked first on Amazon. Like people, like everybody in the world wants to know what you guys fuck with. Every fashion brand, every soda brand, every sneaker brand, so tell them. You know how valuable of a show and how many people would follow you if your day was walking around this campus and just asking people like, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite soda? What's your favorite brand? That's valuable. I'm interested.
Do you think personal branding will eventually replace the resume?
Sure, if you define it as, I definitely don't give a fuck what your resume says. I'm far more interested in what our interview is gonna feel like, and if I'm intrigued, I'm definitely going to your social to figure out who you are. Like I know when Jet players are not gonna be good by the way they treat their friends and women on social media. It's crazy. I'm like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. Sure enough, sucks. Like, you know, like it's hell yeah. What, I'm gonna listen to your bullshit piece of paper versus your actions?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, what's up, Gary?
That was a little swag right there, like a little finger roll to Mike.
My name is Ariel, and I want to give you a shout out for giving a shout out to Reezy Resells.
Yes.
Which is I actually met him this weekend and
Love
watching
it.
Amazon. Larry's gonna
Yep.
shout you one day. So my question is, I'm a senior electrical engineering. However, I've been having dreams lately of like helping my dad in Ecuador.
I love
He has
it.
a business there, but I'm doing the Amazon thing. I'm a senior, and I got a few things lined up for the next.
And the Amazon thing, just so everybody learns, is you're buying shit at stores and reselling it on Amazon and making a profit.
Exactly.
I don't even want to get into, I don't know if you guys heard, you know this whole thing started because I was on Breakfast Club, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And Envy tried to call me out, tried to fucking gas me up. I was like, okay, Envy, fuck you, watch this. And I dropped the whole thing. And it's, guys, I'm getting 500 emails a month right now from people like, I make $23,000 a year we're broke. I've got $40,000 in credit card debt. I live with 8 family members, and this shit changed. Like, I go to Marshall's now every day, and I'm making 200 extra bucks a week. Like, it's crazy what's going on Amazon and eBay. Like, you can literally, if you got 3 hours, make hundreds of dollars every day by just going to stores like TJ Maxx and Marshall's and Dollar Store, scanning shit, looking for how much it's selling for on Amazon, buying it, and selling it. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
like, what are you flipping?
So I started flipping books, I'm doing wholesaling, and actually I pay for my daughter's daycare through that type of money. So that's really amazing.
How much time are you spending on it?
I probably spent in the beginning probably like maybe 10 hours just watching YouTube videos and DMing people, but now I probably just spend like 5-10 hours, and it's incredible. Like,
so 5-10, like, what do you, what
5-10 hours a week.
Going to places to buy?
Just researching products online.
Got it, you're doing it all online.
Yeah, I'm doing it all online.
You're finding shit?
Yeah, there's a few extensions. I think one is DS Amazon, and one is Jumbo Scout, which I'm gonna purchase later on. The app itself is ridiculous. You just literally scan like your whatever you have at home, and it just tells you how much it's worth. And it started with a $5 investment, but
what dollar?
a $5 investment. I did that, and I'm making like $1,000 already within the last 4
One more
months.
time, break that down for me. How much of investment?
So I started, the story is actually funny because I was walking home, and then I found a web design book, and I sold it to check. They gave me $6.50. I went to my girlfriend's library, and I'm like, you got books you never read, let me take those, flip them.
So you stole books from the library?
No, my girlfriend.
Your girlfriend did?
Yeah,
even better. Because if it got caught, it was on her. I like you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
my girlfriend's library, so I took that, I flipped it, I made a few bucks, the profit, and then I just redoing it.
Guys, I'm telling you, if you need, like, this is just a different thing. If you actually want to be an entrepreneur, selling is always a good idea. Engineers, skateboard, it doesn't matter. Whatever your background is, selling, just to learn it, just to taste it, is a foundational thing. At the end of the day, it's what you're gonna do. You can build the best product, somebody's gonna sell it, you might as well have a little knowledge of it. Like, everybody should be grounded in selling. Right now, while you've got time, and you've got time, just so you know, lots of it. Lots of it. Start going places and buying shit. Like, get the app, the scanning apps on your phone. Like, make $200-300 a week on your 5 to 12 hour investment of going places, listing it. Like, it is a foundational thing that will serve you well, and you might as well put a couple $100 in your pocket each week too. And God forbid you stumble on something, like, this will happen, and then the spinner or the slime or something happens. Or you walk into the right store doing the right closeout, and you scan something and it's selling for $35 on Amazon, and it's $3 a piece, and they got 400 of them, and you've been saving up and making some money, and you go all in, all of a sudden you got $4,000 on that $5 investment. And this is the emails, 500 emails a month that started with $9, now have $4,000. But that's a little less Madden. That's a little less listening to all of Logic and Russ's songs on repeat 400 times a day. That's a little less hanging out. Like, it's work.
So yeah, I just want to touch on.
Go ahead.
So I want to help out my dad, but
yeah.
I don't know if it's feasible to do it overseas because I haven't made enough money to go over there. Do you think it's a good idea to do it? Because he's not really tech, so I don't know what.
What's he do?
So he builds products to like help flowers last longer, whether they come here or
cool.
they're a lot more, I guess, greener, different colors.
How old's your dad?
He's probably like 60 something, but he got a PhD in like
I would say that the reason I asked you how old, I think, you know, I would wait, but at the same token, there's nothing like working with your family. Like, you know, maybe you can go back and forth. I'll tell you good news. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think either way it's gonna be right.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You got it.
What's up, Gary?
How are you, my man?
Good. I'm Zay.
Zay.
Big fan.
Thank you.
So I had a question regarding marketing, a little bit of entrepreneurship.
Let's do it.
Just blending of the two. I'm trying to start my own business, like a lot of people here.
Yep.
I wouldn't work for myself. Working for others kind of sucks.
I get it. It's hard.
But I'm wondering, like, we've heard certain buzzwords like products, sales, etc. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit on how to, when your product is an idea, is a concept, like a value system. Like, I'm trying to build a web platform for fathers.
Okay.
That provides like community resources, things like that. Because I feel like that's like a lane that's not very addressed
Understand.
It's building now.
I get it.
But when I became a father not too long ago,
Congrats.
I was like, yo, there's nothing out here for the men.
Yep.
Speak to them. So we need that. But at the same time, what I'm building now, you know, I've got the blog. I'm starting to get more into regular YouTubing and just kind of creating consistent content.
You have
that jab.
You're not an idea. You're a media company.
That's what it.
So what you need to realize is you're a media company. And how do media companies make money? They make money on subscriptions. You've got to sell your content. What's hard about selling content is there's a lot of it out there. Like a lot of people here don't want to pay for content because sure, this person might be selling an $8 thing, but they know they can find it for free somewhere else. We don't love to pay for content, but if you're good enough, they will. And so here are a couple things you should do. Keep pumping out tons of content. It's your only shot. And then you've got to build an actual fan base that cares about you, like personal brand. They have to care. They have to care enough to pay for something. If you have enough fans that love you, well then all of a sudden HarperCollins comes along and offers you $100,000 to write a book. Right. That's one way to make money. If you have people that love you and care about you and you've brought them value, all of a sudden people might pay you $500 to give your first speech, right? And then it builds, right? Or if they really love you and they care about you and you've brought them value, maybe you start doing a father's retreat, right? And maybe a fan of yours owns some property upstate and so they don't charge you. And so now when you charge $200 a head and 150 people come and you have no overhead because the fan you brought value to gave you the property for free. So you've got to treat yourself like a media company. And so it's not an idea, you just have to put that energy and that content and that fan base into buckets that you can monetize. But first, my man, you have to actually build a community.
Which is what I'm working on now.
I love it. So, you know, just build it. Right now is the time you should work for somebody, right? 9 to 3, just right. Get on. But it's that late night. It's the stuff I talk. Crush It was a breakthrough for me because I started talking about that 7 p.m. to 2 in the morning, right? Because I want to be practical. It's not like, hey, quit. It's going to all be all right. It's going to take you 2 years to get to a place to have leverage where people are going to pay you for the things I just broke down. What are you going to do in those 2 years? Right? So I'm a big fan of getting that job that's kind of lightweight and just paying you and it's easy. I don't care, stand behind the register of a slow store so you can work. Now with phones, fuck. Yeah. Right? Like when I wrote that, it was desktop computers. Now with a phone, you could be building your business while you're standing behind the register at Saks Fifth Avenue, like nobody's up there, you're just building your shit and getting paid. I love that.
Dope.
You're welcome.
Hi Gary, thank you for being here. I guess I'm going to step away from like the entrepreneur
Let's go.
question. This is more like about morale overall with everything that's been going on
Yes.
last year.
Yes.
Almost every notification you get from CNN,
Yes.
New York Times,
Yes.
like
Negative.
as like an immigrant, a woman,
Yes.
a sister of like a special ed child.
Yes.
How do you like? It's like the system's against you. How do you move on from that?
You know, it's funny, right? Because I gave that young man the same answer. And I spent a lot of time with minority female friends in the last year about this. Like, to me, I just try to remind them it's perspective. I genuinely, what I'm about to say is very, very uncomfortable because I'm a white dude. But I'm gonna say it because I think it's my truth. I genuinely believe that happiness is much more of a mindset than people realize. You're more than welcome to look at those things and you're getting pounded by them. But I've been lucky my whole life, forget about being a dude, or just even when I was a bad student, I just don't listen. I think that you've never had more opportunity than you have right now. I understand the propaganda that's being pushed, but the reality is the internet doesn't give a fuck. The market doesn't give a fuck. You know what's really funny? Like when it comes right down to it, people want to make money, people want to win, people want to be happy. I just think you're way more in control than you think. Like I don't know what else to tell you, like what? Like now, obviously for the really unfortunate, listen, I didn't get my green card until I was like 19. Like my family, was procrastinating our citizenship. I think about it all the time, like fuck, we could have got really caught, Like unless you're sitting with not the right paperwork, which I think is then a real conversation. I have no interest in like sitting on a soapbox, but if you're set and you're here, you have it really good. I don't care what people say. There's an unlimited amount of opportunity. First of all, old white dude, like angry white dude, they can't stop you. Like, what are they gonna do? Like what? Like the cliche angry white dude that we're referring to isn't in a power position to begin with.
Really?
Sure. Angry white dude, like all these 28-year-old angry, like white, like they're losing. And like 64-year, like when you say really, let me tell you about 64-year-old white dude. He wants to make money. And if a brown girl can do it for him, they're in. That's just the truth. That's the part that nobody talks about. Like, nobody's stopping you. Like, Jeff Zucker can be running CNN breaking news because he wants ratings and it might be tricking you, but you're letting it trick you. So I would change your mindset. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you can. It's hard. Do I think it's harder for you? Yep. And?
That's all I needed, really.
I think so, right? Like, it's like people need to be reminded. Like people, like, you know, it's so weird, but like I'm telling you, like the little bubble I lived in, and again, some of the 40-year-olds here know, like it was only school. Like I was an F student. I had no chance. Like, I think you can win. I'm positive you can win. You just need to start changing your mindset. Fuck them.
In an organization and try to have an impact on the community more along the lines of like social work.
Love it.
Rather than trying to make a business.
I would do a lot of listening and I would do a lot of documenting. You know, like the media is what's powerful, right? So if you're trying to make a change, first know what change you're trying to make, listen to the community, don't be idealistic of what you want. You know, one of the things that's been really interesting as I've gotten into social efforts and things of that nature is people have their opinion of what they want for the community, not what the community wants for themselves, right? People get on their high horse, how they want it to be. So first thing I would say is, you know, you may look exactly like them, but make sure you hear them because it's a psychological game, right? Not a facade game, you know? So first, know what they want. Once you understand what they want, literally with your iPhone, making videos and posting them on Facebook and Instagram. We live in the greatest time ever. We're in control of the media. The media runs shit. Why do you think dictators, or when there's a coup in a country, they take over the media first? The media makes you think shit. That beautiful, wonderful woman right there believes those fuckers pumping that negativity. Because we're humans. I get it, I'm not mad at you, that's the game. So the fact that we now have that at our fingertips, like film, post, distribute, do you know how much money that cost a media company? My man over there, like Z, like for me to say you're a media company, that's crazy. You needed people to pick you. You needed to wait 4 years. You need to get lucky in Hollywood. You need to have 800 people put you on and take all your money out. It's all you. The internet changed everything. It is the biggest change in our society. We grossly underestimate it. You take it for granted. We underestimate it. It's the biggest shift in human culture ever. And that's why I'm optimistic. That's why I'm optimistic. Because you have so many options. That's why I'm optimistic that you can actually make a change where you couldn't have 30 years ago unless you were one very special human of all time. Now you can make that change. Create content around the true stories that people need to hear.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys. To piggyback off of Francie, questions. So I started a Christian apparel line on Shopify.
Christian apparel line on Shopify.
On Shopify about 8 months ago.
You heard about Shopify?
about 8 months ago,
the
journey.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's a greater cause behind the apparel. So it's not the apparel that I'm selling, right?
Sure.
So I'm really focused on putting that in the front line, emphasizing the why, the purpose. And I haven't been so much on.
What's the technical details besides it being Christian? You know, like what happens with the money? You donating all of it?
No, not, at the moment, no.
I understand.
But my question is that I've been really focused on actually providing.
The reason I asked that question and made that joke is you need to really make sure that you walk the fine line. When you get into cause or good,
right, for profit,
you need to make sure you're not full of shit or people will smell it.
Right.
And it's okay, you should make money. There's nothing wrong with that, but make sure you know, like, I love when people are like, oh, so Tom's shoes, remember that back in the day? I was super friendly with him. He came from a decent place. Like he was the first guy. He was like, fuck it, like I really wanna make these shoes and I wanna really give a pair of shoes. But then every fucking huckster entrepreneur came through. My office was like, okay, cool, yo, listen, check. I'm starting an umbrella company, and when you buy one umbrella, I give one umbrella to the kids that get rained on, right? Like everybody's just making, like people are just making up shit. And then I would look under the hood, and I'd be like, why is your candy bar, where you're donating one, twice the price of every candy bar? Oh, I see, you wanna keep all the money still, but you wanna front like you're doing some good, so your shit is double the price. You're not actually giving, you're inflating the price so that you can look like a good Christian. Right. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, right, no. I'm saying you need to be careful because that's what everybody's thinking.
Right, so my question regards on the flip side.
Go ahead.
I'm extremely focused on the purpose, the cause behind it,
yes,
and I'm not salesy enough.
Understood.
So I was wondering what would be like some suggestions in like balancing that out.
Well, what do you think salesy means to you?
Well, I think that's what it is. I think it's more of a perspective thing. You know, I've been in retail for a long time growing up, and I don't know if like it's been pushed upon me like, oh, you gotta sell it, do that,
and so you became visceral to it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So
what about just running Facebook ads against Christian Americans with $100,000 income levels?
Right. So I've done that,
and
I'm trying to still emphasize the messages behind it rather than the T-shirt itself. So I'm still looking for that balance.
So how are you doing that?
That's one of my concerns right now. So
so you need to pump content.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm currently doing that.
Okay. But the sales aren't keeping enough, right?
Right.
So why'd you stop doing the Facebook ads? They didn't work?
I decided to revamp my entire website and just sit back, strategize, put my head down, and now I'm going to continue on with the Facebook advertisement.
Yep.
Yeah.
To be very frank, I just think it sounds like it's early.
Yeah.
Like I think you're just having early talk right now.
Right.
Like patience seems to be the word that's running through my head. I'm like, you clearly know what you got to do.
Right.
Like create content about the purpose behind it, and run ads and try to sell the other stuff. And if you feel like you're not salesy enough, hire a partner or a head of sales to like worry about that. So you can put all. It sounds like maybe you don't want to put your energy in that, and maybe you need somebody to focus on the sales so that you can focus on the purpose.
Right. Thank you.
Patience. Just keep pulling levers. Also, Christian hashtags on Instagram. Click it. See the top 9 posts. Click.
Going 30.
DM. Good.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Chris. I want to piggyback on your idea about no choice earlier.
Yes.
So I was forced into entrepreneurship because I can't legally work for a company.
Understood.
At first I thought it sucked, but it's been the most empowering thing that I've had over the past couple of years. But my friends still all have like 2 or 3 side hustles. So I wanted to get your view on what you think about a side hustle and whether or not folks should just drop it and focus on one.
I think you've got to know the person, right? So like I do think if you look at the data, like focusing on one business always works out better than 3. Like, I always tell kids when they roll in, they're like, all right, yo, I've got this umbrella company, I got a sneaker company, I got a babysitting company, oh, and I sell like bananas on the side, right? I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, when you got 4 businesses, you have no businesses, right? So, but I look at myself, I've got my core businesses, but I'm so entrepreneurial and I love the action so much. I do side things here and there. I almost always lose because I'm not focused on it and I'm relying on somebody else. But I need that action to make me actually do my main thing. Like the side stuff, it's like a good meal, right? Like I like the sea bass, but like the English peas, I need that too to make the whole meal, right? And so I think that it's more reverse engineering the person, But I do think that it's much more fun to start creating side hustles after you have something that's stable and can afford the loss of the side hustle instead of thinking the right strategy is 3 things, because you do definitely get stretched in. And it's guys, 99% of small businesses don't win. Like, when are we gonna accept the math? It's hard, right? Like, the vibe feels like half of us are gonna make it. 1 person in this room is gonna make it. Like, for real, Because when shit hits the fan, I can't say it enough. When the market crashes, that's when you have to have a big enough business to get through. There's a lot of people here in 24 months that might be on their way, but then the money falls out and people aren't buying anymore. Then your suppliers want their money. Then, you know, like just.
So it's 10 a.m. We're running kind of like ran out of time.
We can't kill this guy.
This is the last
Yeah.
question with him.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you for that. My name is Gerard Gary. Thanks for being a Pat McAfee show. I think that was awesome.
Thank you.
So my question is, I'm transitioning to taking over my father's business.
Yes.
Helping him out rather.
Yes.
It's an Eastern European grocery store in Delhi, in
Love it.
Rochester. So the demographics changed due to some of his personal issues and flaws. We've lost a lot of his customer base.
Because of the way how he rolls?
As an alcoholic and drinking the job, yeah.
Respect.
Personal laundry, sorry
Yep.
about that. So between social media, doing community events, and a lack of capital, what can I do to invest and try to bring back some revenue into this business?
So you're gonna be so it's a deli and a what?
Deli grocery store.
Right, like and lack of capital, and what else?
Bad credit as well. Reputation has declined as a part of his flaws.
And he'll be cool with you becoming more of the public face because he knows it needs to get saved?
I am currently going through some barriers with him.
Yeah, because you know, I notice how I asked a pretty unique question.
Yeah.
Like everybody would assume sure, right? Look, sometimes things fail for those reasons. If your dad is able to have the humility that he knows he has no other choice but to let you become the face because of the damage control, then you got a prayer, because then you can go on heavy offense of creating content on an hourly basis that puts you at the forefront. And what's great about local businesses is it won't take long for the word of mouth to go, right? And I'm gonna assume, like, it also sounds like, has he had the business for a long time?
30 years.
I knew it, so great. So like, a lot of people don't want it to go. Like, underlining, you know, if it's a more recent phenomenon, people are as much sad as they are mad, right? So I think if you can get your face in front of it, and then I would start just doing, guerrilla marketing, like stunt marketing. Like the only thing you've really got as an asset is your inventory, right? So I would start doing, I mean, this is a risky move. This is really what I would do. I would start doing, I've been thinking about doing this for Wine Library. I want to do something called Free Food Friday. Like literally, just give away $20 gourmet credits at Wine Library on Fridays for like 4 hours just to see what the fuck would happen. Just to see how many people show up. You know, you know, obviously you can't take that big of a financial risk, but maybe a version of that to like start giving back to the community. I would do really weird shit. Like, I've got a really weird one for you. I think that the first day it snows, that you should, no, stick with me here. I think you should go and shovel people's yards as a thank you for being a customer. Like stuff that's stunty that could like change the mood, right? Like when you need to change the momentum, you can't change it by doing little things, right? You need to do big things, weird things that capture people, you know, owning and like we want to give back to the community. So like a lot of community stuff. I would literally put a search query around that entire town on Twitter and Instagram, and I would literally, as the business, reply to every single fucking comment. Like if you're going into the business, right, you're gonna be similar to how I rolled in. You're just gonna be sitting there, right? You're gonna be fucking sitting there. So the fuck, man, if I had a fucking mobile phone when I was sitting there, I would have been able to do even more damage, right? And you could just literally search your town, Portchester, like you search it, look at every photo and just fucking pound, you know? Like you see some kid who's got like 4,000 followers because he's from a local high school drinking a Gatorade, DM and be like, yo, I'll give you Gatorade free for this whole month. Come through, take a photo with me. Like, it can happen fast. You see where I'm going? Your asset, credit's a problem, reputation, like you're going into a fire, right? But you still have product, some, right? Like I'm sure there's food in there, there's stuff in there. Beautiful, that's your ammo. Your ammo is your hustle and the fucking product.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think.